apparently South Africa has some of the best drinking water in the world. Should we be...
It's relative. It's relative.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. The only difference would be that we don't have salty water, like seawater,
Yeah.
bitter or whatever. But in terms of everything else, yeah, we still have to purify just like everyone else.
Let's Talk Science podcast with me, your host Thuli Dr Thembisile. And really the podcast, what we do here is bring science closer to you, because at the end of the day, science is everywhere. You are science, I am science, you're looking at me through science, you listen to me through science, everything is science. And today I'm very excited because we're going to be talking officially, let's talk water purification. And I'm very happy to have in my home today as my guest, recently married, recently graduated, Mrs. Dr Thembisile Mahlangu Mnama. Welcome! Thank you so much for coming through. How does it feel to be married? And how does it feel to be the doctor and be called doctor?
Thank you for having me, Tools. This is such a great initiative. As for how it feels to be married, it feels the same way as though we were dating. It's just that now it's more official. And the graduation part of things, it feels surreal because you've been working so hard for everything that's happened, and now it's here, and now it's like, now what?
Sure, now what? Yeah?
Yeah.
Why are we purifying water?
Well, the main reason is because of the major shortage of water globally, and in South Africa, in rural areas, everyone is struggling with water. We see it every day, and I feel like it's very important and it's close to my heart because no one should be dying from something that's supposed to be giving you life, or what we supposedly say is life, because water is life. So that's why we want to purify, or we are purifying. And yeah, it's just...
Why would people be dying of water?
Contamination, mainly. Microbes, or what we call bacteria or germs, are things that cause water to be sort of unsafe, and someone will then die from what we call a waterborne illness. It's because you drink that water and then you get infected by whatever is contaminating the water, whether it be heavy metals, which are also not good for you. They cause a lot of things, and one major thing that people are not aware of is water that's full of fluoride. We think that fluoride is a good thing, and we're not aware of all these
That's
effects.
the thing we used to, that's the thing in our toothpaste,
In the
right?
toothpaste,
It cleans,
yes.
but we don't swallow toothpaste.
No, we don't swallow.
Because it's bad, right? It would be bad to swallow toothpaste.
Yes, it would be bad, but drinking water that has that high concentration of fluoride is also one thing that leads to those severe health effects that we don't see.
Okay, let's track back a little bit. Drinking water. Which drinking water are we talking about? Because there's the drinking water in my house. There's the... I know, like, growing up when I would go to, like, visit my grandmother in Bangeni, would go to the river to get water, but then they'd have some sort of way of, I don't know, it was like a teaspoon of jig, and I don't know how big the water was, but there was ways to purify waters that were collected from water bodies, but that's like natural water sources, and then that's different to the kind of water that we're getting from the tap. That's also different to the kind of water we get bottled. Or are there other like water sources?
No, it's actually what you've spoken about is all the water sources. We treat tap water, we treat groundwater.
No, wait. So apparently South Africa has some of the best drinking water in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be...
It's relative. It's relative.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. The only difference would be that we don't have salty water, like seawater,
Yeah.
it's bitter or whatever. But in terms of everything else, yeah, we still have to purify just like everyone else.
So should I be purifying the water coming out of my tap?
No, because of where you stay. In Gauteng, we've got the best water. But in some areas, even in Pretoria, like Pretoria East, you can't drink that water. Yeah, because of the taste and the odor, because you can't get rid of those things. However, if you even go way outside of Gauteng, then you can't drink the tap water from there as well because of whatever it is that's associated with that water. That's why you find that people buy water, especially with the odor, and you can't really be sure. And then you have these devices with activated carbon or activated charcoal that they fit into the tap now. It's to also address that.
I don't know what you're talking about. So tap water, they put devices on them, or like activated charcoal devices.
Yes.
For what?
For purification, extra purification, because
and those are not great.
With the odor, they are great.
Uh-huh.
They are great. It's just that they kind of cost an arm and a leg for someone who does not have the means, which is where I come in, because I want to actually have products that will be for everyone, whether you've got money, whether you don't have money. Especially now in these economic times, you need something that's affordable and something that can even be taken up by government to supply those people who, like I said, cannot afford the luxury of having clean water using all these fancy devices.
How do I know that the water I'm drinking in Johannesburg is okay to drink from the tap and the water from Pretoria East is not?
I'd say you just have to trust your supplier.
Who's the supplier?
Rainwater. So you should trust what Rainwater is telling you.
Rainwater is a supplier for the province.
For the province. They also supply outside of the province. But I don't know if you are aware that we are also buying water from Lesotho, but it also goes through the Rainwater channels. So
why are we buying water from Lesotho? Our reservoirs, our water reservoirs, are they not have enough water?
That's a good question that we should be posing, because I haven't received answers from anyone about that. I'd also love to know, why are we having that much of a shortage that we have to buy water from another country?
So the water that we're drinking from the tap, this water could very well be coming from Lesotho.
It could very well be. Yeah.
That's hectic. I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah. I stand to be corrected, but that's
what are you purifying in the water in Pretoria? Let's say I live in Pretoria East, and then I don't have the activated charcoal device that purifies the water for me. What is it? What in the water is it purifying?
So the main thing that it purifies is the odor and the taste. So
it's not like it's unhealthy water. You can drink it, just it tastes bad.
You can drink it. For some people, I know for myself, if I'm in that specific area, if I drink that water, I will suffer from gastro.
Oh, and I know sometimes people suffer from like diarrhea if they drink water that's alright. So it's a odor, and what causes the odor? Because it's microbes.
Yeah.
And it's related to how the water is purified by the municipalities?
In most cases, also the storage and the pipelines that they're using. So yeah.
Okay, track back. Okay. Because now you're talking pipelines, storage. What is the value chain for water?
So you'll treat it, and then after it gets
It's coming out of my house?
Yeah.
I've just flushed my toilet.
Okay. In that sense.
What happens?
So it goes to a wastewater treatment plant, and there they will then remove all the contaminants that you can think of. However, it still has to go to another filter. No, it has to go outside back into the rivers, and that's where then rainwater will come in, because it then gets that water that comes from the rivers into the dams, and then they start purifying from that point to give us drinking water.
So the water comes from I flushed it, it goes into a pipe.
Yes.
The pipe leads to
a sewer.
some form of a sewer wastewater management system. I'm assuming they separate it and they remove like all the solids and that happens there.
That happens there.
But they're not cleaning it there. Are they cleaning it there at all?
They clean it to some extent.
They clean it to some extent, and then they release it to like natural water bodies, and then it gets directed to like a dam. And then at that dam, then it's Rand water in the case of South Africa, where it gets cleaned to a point where I can drink it.
Yes. Now there's two levels of water. There's the green drop, which is just basically saying it's good to go back into nature, and we sort of reintegrate that water with whatever water networks there are, rivers, oceans, and. Then the second one is the blue drop status, which is then more stringent in terms of the quality of the water, how much of metals must be in there, how much nutrients must be in there. There shouldn't be even a single bacteria in that water. Then we can drink it. So depending on who has that status, that's the person that will treat either the sewer water or the drinking water that we get.
And then Rand water in Johannesburg releases the water, and the water is not, it doesn't have an odor, and it doesn't smell. Because how is it different then to a water purification system somewhere else? And why can't that system be applied there?
Well, it's up to who's the recipient in terms of where your reservoir is, because we have different reservoirs for different areas. So you'll find that the one that's in Pretoria East, the reservoir that they are using is, as I said, not maybe to that standard, or the pipes are contaminated with whatever it is. However, because of all the, not necessarily red tape, but I guess these things that you can't really investigate, you can't go beyond saying that, okay, this water is not good because of the odor and the taste. But yeah.
Is it political? Is water political?
I think it is to some extent, because anything that goes to the municipality is political.
It's political.
Yeah. In terms of how people are going to get it, when they're going to get it. For instance, in Mpumalanga, which is literally like 30 minutes outside of Gauteng, their water is given to them on a schedule. They'll tell you get your water on Monday, and then again I think on Wednesday.
But that's the municipality. That's where the water goes to the reservoir.
Yes. So it's dependent on who is giving you that water, which municipality is it, because for us it's a normal thing to have a running tap. For them, they have taps, but then they still have to collect. I'm even talking about Mpumalanga, even here in Winterveld, Pretoria, they don't have water. If they have running water, it will be for a certain time, maybe on Sunday from 10 to whatever time. Then a water tanker comes and
they have water load shedding.
Yes, which is quite interesting, because water is supposed to be something that you have access to all the time, especially
it's a basic right.
Yes, in places like Gauteng, you shouldn't be struggling for water, but yeah.
So you're in the lab and you're trying to develop some kind of a device that could be a substitute for the activated charcoal one that some people are using, which is more expensive.
Yeah.
And what solution is that?
Basically, hypothetically speaking, I am looking to do like a tea bag kind of thing, where you just buy that tea bag, you throw it into the water, it kills the bugs, it removes whatever it has to remove, and you have clean water. And it doesn't have to be something that, takes up too much time in terms of having a technician help you, or you have to read instructions. I mean, no one tells you how to make tea. You just make it.
I inherited that knowledge.
Yeah. So even with this, it's something that you can inherit. You just hold it in there, in your bucket or whatever system you're using, and Bob's your uncle.
Hypothetically, what's in the tea bag?
It's what I'm working on now, the materials that I'm working on now, nanomaterials.
Okay.
You can see the bulk, but in actual fact, if you had to zoom in, you'd really have to have a specialized equipment to look at those.
The bugs. or the beads
the
themselves.
beads that we're working with.
So so nanoparticles are beads that are sort of made of different material.
Yes.
And what characterizes the specific beads that you would be using for such a purification system?
So you would have to use, like I said, a specialized equipment. So they call it a TEM or a THEM, transmission electron microscope or a scanning electron microscope. And those microscopes are basically designed to view those because you can't see them with your naked eye.
These nanoparticles.
These nanoparticles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's the nanoparticle is there. We're able to see it using this scanning electron microscope or the transmission electron microscope. I remember that from varsity a little bit. And then that allows you to see them. It allows you to then standardize maybe their size or what they look like or whatever. But what characteristic do these beads need to have?